Welcome back to WFMY News 2 mornings on this weather impact alert day as we take a look at what you are seeing outside of your window. Snow is falling across the Triad the second time in the last 6 days. But unlike this system last weekend, what's falling now is big, fluffy snow that will be enjoyable as long as we keep in mind it is bitterly cold with very cold wind chills this morning. We have live team coverage this morning. Welcome. I'm Megan Malaris.
And I'm Giselle Thomas. You can see that there's so many different things going out through the Triad, and we're making sure that we are keeping an eye out on it for you. We have our teams that are spread all throughout, whether it's checking those road conditions in Burlington. But first, we're going to check in with our meteorologist, Ed Matthews. We know, Ed, we are in that weather impact alert and staying safe as we can. Tell us a little bit about just how conditions are right now.
Well, every flake, quite frankly, is sticking to the ground because it's so cold, upper teens and lower 20s this morning. So the snow is accumulating and will continue to do so really throughout the day. Let's take a look at radar and see how things are faring. And what we're seeing is a continuation of the expansion of snow on radar coming in from the west with our upper level low and expanding over eastern North Carolina as our storm gets organized just off the southeast coast. So we're going to get it from both directions, the west and eventually from the east. So the snow will only ramp up through the day, and then during the evening kind of gradually start to taper off to snow showers. And then I think most of the snow will be out of here after midnight tonight. Still looking at a general rule about 3 to 6 inches of snow. We'll keep an eye on that, maybe tweaking it during the day. The small number is the wind chills. Dangerous wind chills this morning in the single digits with the snow ramping up. We were in the low 20s earlier. We have dropped back into the teens. Just stay inside. It's going to snow. It's beautiful out there, but the feel-like temperatures will average 0 to 5 above today. Snow tapers off after midnight tonight. We drop to a low of 11. Wind chills could go a few degrees below 0 tonight.
And just reiterating what Ed said, making sure that you're staying inside. In the meantime, we have our crews that are outside, out and about. We have a crew in Burlington, and it will traveling from Burlington, going to Forsyth County, and one in Greensboro. They're going to look at how things are going right now. Yeah, several of us on our commutes through Greensboro this morning saw plows out and about. They are at the ready. Amber Lake is live just off of a main interstate. Amber, you've been talking firsthand with these crews this morning who are ready to respond. What's the plan of attack today?
You know, the plan of attack is to just wait for these roads to get a little bit more dicey. I mean, we have some snow on the roadways right now. You can see it's still accumulating. We've been out here for a couple hours now, and it just progressively gets worse. But these trucks are packed up and ready. They have salt. They have their plows. NCDOT did post on their Facebook page that if you do see a plow truck driving around with their plow up, that means they're going to that priority route. That is the first thing that they need to do, is go to those priority routes. Then they will get to the secondary roads. If they do have their plow up, they might be throwing out some salt, they might be throwing out some brine, but the trucks that you see behind me, they are just ready, and they're sitting here until they get that initial instruction to go to their priority 1 routes. We have seen a couple trucks kind of come back and drive back up and down Groomtown Road. We just talked about the person that I met, one of the crew members. He said that he's been driving around Greensboro, and all of the roads look like this. So if you are watching this right now, make sure that you are staying inside. I know my husband's grandmother is watching. Make sure that you're staying inside today. We don't want any slips and falls. We don't want anyone to get in their car and be put in a situation where you might get in a wreck or you might slip off the roadways. But these trucks behind me, they are not able to work in conditions where the winds are over 35 miles per hour. So while the wind is kind of cutting right now, it doesn't seem to be at that 35 mile per hour range. But we are waiting to see whenever they take off from this area. But again, these roads aren't looking the best right now, guys.
I was going to say, just looking at these conditions now, about 2 hours ago, we couldn't even see the roads next to you, Amber. So the fact that now it's covered in snow, things have really ramped up. Now we're going to be headed over to Christina Dillon. We know that she's traveling on her way to Forsyth County. Christina, tell us a little bit about just how things are going. And also, we know you just left Burlington not too long ago.
That's right. I was in Burlington earlier and we weren't seeing a ton of snow accumulation, snowfall, so we decided to head to Forsyth County where we heard there was more, and there certainly is. We're in between Kernersville and Winston-Salem right now, and just take a look at the roads. I mean, this is just from the past 30 minutes, I've seen barely any snow on the ground to now it almost being completely covered, no longer transparent, bare pavement. You can really see the snow is sticking. It's not too, slippery and slidey, but we are being careful. We're driving, at least 20 miles, 10, 20 miles under the speed limit, just taking things slow, making sure that we're watching out. I have seen a few plows. It looks like they may be the plows that are on their way to their primary routes because I didn't actually see them plowing, but we did drive by a few. So they are certainly out here. We saw a few in Burlington earlier, stationary, kind of staying by. The city says it was going to wait for the event to be over before they started deploying plows, but we know that the NCDOT does operate, roads all across the state, including in Burlington, so it was likely those plows that we saw. In Winston, they had some issues with plowing when this first storm hit last weekend. They mainly said that the sleet and salt just really wasn't mixing. They were waiting because the temperatures were so low, and we know that it took them a little longer to clear those roads. So we're heading out to Winston now. We'll kind of get there and put ourselves in a spot and see if we do see those plows. We're going to try to head somewhere off the interstate.
All right, thanks, Christina. Yeah, we look forward to hearing that update. We know the city of Winston-Salem got some criticism last week for perhaps waiting too long, so it will be interesting to see if the city changes its approach this morning. Let's take a live look now from Madison, which shows this gas station out over a blanket of white. Thanks to Chris Williamson for submitting this video to us.
And we're also looking at conditions all across the state. We know that 100 counties are under this winter storm warning. Also going into some things that our Governor Josh Stein had told us about.
Yeah, he really emphasized with this second system here, hypothermia and frostbite are real risks. We're talking about that bitter cold, which is just as big of a story as the snow accumulation that is starting to pile up.
So folks just need to not be outside if they possibly can. And if they are outside, make sure that you are well dressed, wearing lots of leathers and covering all exposed skin.
And after the storm makes its way through the Triad, we do know that a lot of you may consider going sledding with the kiddos. Now, it's important to make sure that you're prioritizing safety. Just last year, there was a deadly sledding accident that happened in the Triad. And we also talked to a local medical director about what not to do.
I think the biggest contributor to these severe injuries are when you're being pulled behind like an ATV or a truck. That can be extremely dangerous. As the sleds can get out of control, it can run into other cars and things on the street. So that's one I would not recommend at all.
Officials also recommend that you ride one at a time unless the sled is specifically designed for multiple people. Also, you want to make sure that you're wearing a helmet just to stay extra safe.
Yeah, I also suggest if your neighborhood kids are sledding, have some parents be spotters down the hill. So in case anything goes wrong or there's traffic, somebody is down there to keep the kids safe. We want to emphasize stay away from frozen bodies of water. There were 3 deaths related to frozen water in the Triad last year. A man and his dog were rescued in High Point last night. North Carolina Emergency Management said the ice can be deceiving. It cannot support the weight of a person or a pet. If you end up driving this morning, maybe you're an essential worker, we appreciate you. Be very mindful that you will be slow going. It is legal to have your hazards on while driving in weather, but doing that is oftentimes more harmful. Other drivers don't know if you need to switch lanes. State troopers also say those flashers are a big distraction.
And despite the cold and also the snow, the Clash at Bowman Gray is still on for Sunday night. All events today are canceled. Now, a ton of equipment is also being used to make sure that that track is in top shape. That includes snow plows, skid skiers, and also gear from Bristol Motor Speedway and Talladega Speedway. Now, we've also had about some preparations that are coming up. We'll have that coming up soon.
Plus, the snow continues coming down pretty hard here at the station in Guilford County. We'll talk more about snow totals and what you can expect for the remainder of the weekend coming up.